Good morning, everyone. I hope you are having a blessed day when you're reading this. It's early Thursday morning. I believe it's February 10th. So we're going to continue with Genesis. So as always, let's start with our prayer. Father, as I read and receive your word, may it deeply be rooted in me. So when difficulty comes, it will be your word that encourages and strengthens me. So chapter 14. Abram rescues Lot. About this time, war broke out in the region. King Amraphel of Babylonia, King Arioch of Elasar, King Kedorlaomer of Elam, and King Tidal of Goim fought against King Bera of Sodom. King Bersha of Gomorrah, King Sinab of Admah, King Shemabir of Seboim, and King of Bela, now called Zor. The kings of Sodom, Gomorrah, Adam, Seboia, and Bela formed an alliance and mobilized their armies in Siddim Valley, that is, the Valley of the Dead Sea. For 12 years they had all been subject to King Kedorlaomer, but now in the 13th year they rebelled. 1 year later, Kedorlaomer and his allies arrived. They conquered the Rephites in Ashtaroth Karnaim, the Zuzites in Ham, the Emites in the plain of Kirathim, and the Horites in Mount Seir, as far as Al-Paran at the edge of the wilderness. Then they swung around in En Mishpat, now called Kadesh, and destroyed the Amalekites, and also the Amorites living in the Hazon Tamar. Sorry, dog-cat issue. But now the army of the kings of Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, Zeboim, and Bela, now called Zor, prepared for battle in the valley of the Dead Sea against King Kedorlaomer of Elam, and the kings of Goim, Babylonia, and Elasar. 4 kings against 5. As it happened, the valley was filled with tar pits. And as the army of the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled, some slipped into the tar pits, while the rest escaped into the mountains. The victorious invaders then plundered Sodom and Gomorrah and began their long journey home, taking all the wealth and food with them. They also captured Lot, Abram's nephew, who lived in Sodom, and took everything he owned. One of the men who escaped came and told Abram and the Hebrew, who was camped at the oak grove behind the Memre of, try to get this in here, the Amorite Memre, and his relatives Eshcol, Aner, and Abram's allies. When Abram learned that Lot had been captured, he called together the men born into his household, 318 in all. He chased after Kedorlaomer's army until he caught up with them in Dan. There he divided his men and attacked during the night from several directions. Kedorlaomer's army fled, but Abram chased them to Hubah, north of Damascus. Abram and his allies recovered everything, the goods that had been taken, Abram's nephew Lot with his possessions, and all the women and other captives. Melchizedek blesses Abram. As Abram returned from his victory over Kedorlaomer and his allies, the king of Sodom came out to meet him in the valley of Shavi, that is, the king's valley. Then Melchizedek, the king of Salem and a priest of God's Most High, brought him bread and wine. Melchizedek blessed Abram with his blessing. Blessed by Abram by God Most High, creator of heaven and earth, and blessed be God Most High, who has helped you conquer your enemies. Then Abram gave Melchizedek 1/10 of all the goods that he recovered. The king of Sodom told him, "Give back my people who were captured, but you may keep for yourself all the goods you have recovered." Abram replied, "I have solemnly promised the Lord God Most High, creator of heaven and earth, that I will not take so much as a single thread or sandal thong from you. Otherwise you might say I am the one who made Abram rich. All I'll accept is what these young men and mine have already eaten, but give a share of the goods to my allies, Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre. And again, I apologize. I'm probably butchering these names to what some of you know, but I'm doing the best I can. Chapter 15. The Lord's Covenant with Abram. Afterward, the Lord spoke to Abram in a vision and said to him, "Do not be afraid, Abram, for I will protect you and your reward will be great." But Abram replied, "O sovereign Lord, what good are all your blessings when I don't even have a son? Since I don't have a son, Eliezer of Damascus, a servant in my household, will inherit all my wealth. You had given me no children, so one of my servants will have to be my heir." Then the Lord said to him, "No, your servant will not be your heir, for you will have a son of your own to inherit everything I am giving you." Then the Lord brought Abram outside beneath the night sky and told him, "Look up into the heavens and count the stars if you can. Your descendants will be like that, too many to count." And Abram believed the Lord, and the Lord declared him righteous because of his faith. Then the Lord told him, "I am the Lord who brought you out of Ur and Chaldeans to give you this land." But Abram replied, "O sovereign Lord, how can I be sure that you will give it to me?" Then the Lord told him, "Bring me a 3-year-old heifer, a 3-year-old female goat, and a 3-year-old ram, a turtle dove, and a young pigeon." Abram took all of these and killed them. He cut each one down the middle and laid the halves side by side. He did not, however, divide the birds in half. Some vultures came down to eat the carcasses, but Abram chased them away. That evening, as the sun was going down, Abram fell into a deep sleep. He saw a terrifying vision of darkness and horror. Then the Lord told Abram, "You can be sure that your descendants will be strangers in a foreign land, and they will be oppressed as slaves for 400 years. But I will punish the nation that enslaves them, and in the end they will come away with great wealth. But you will die in peace and at a ripe old age. After 4 generations your descendants will return here to this land, when the sin of the Amorites has run its course." As the sun went down and it became dark, Abram saw a smoking firepot and a flaming torch pass between the halves of the carcasses. So the Lord made a covenant with Abram that day and said, "I have given this land to your descendants, all the way from the border of Egypt to the great Euphrates River, the land of the Kenites, Kenizzites, Cadmonites, Hittites, Perizzites, Raphites, Amorites, Canaanites, Girgashites, and Jebusites." The birth of Ishmael, chapter 16. But Sarai, Abram's wife, had no children. So Sarai took her servant, an Egyptian woman named Hagar, and gave her to Abram so she could bear his children. "The Lord has kept me from having any children," Sarai said to Abram. "So go sleep with my servant. Perhaps I can have children through her." But Abram agreed. So Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar, the Egyptian servant, and gave her to Abram as a wife. This happened 10 years after Abram first arrived in the land of Canaan. So Abram slept with Hagar, and she became pregnant. When Hagar knew she was pregnant, she began to treat her mistress, Sarai, with contempt. Then Sarai said to Abram, "It's all your fault. Now this servant of mine is pregnant, and she despises me. Though I myself gave her the privilege of sleeping with you, the Lord will make you pay for doing this to me." Abram replied, "Since she is your servant, you may deal with her as you see fit." So Sarai treated her harshly, and Hagar ran away. The angel of the Lord found Hagar beside a desert spring along the road to Sur. The angel said to her, "Hagar, Sarai's servant, where have you come from, and where are you going?" "I am running away from my mistress," she replied. Then the angel of the Lord said, "Return to your mistress and submit to her authority." The angel added, "I will give you more descendants than you can count." And the angel also said, "You are now pregnant and will give birth to a son. You are to name him Ishmael, for the Lord has heard about your misery. This son of yours will be a wild one, free and untamed, and as a wild donkey. He will be against everyone, and everyone will be against him. Yes, he will live at odds with the rest of his brothers." Thereafter, Hagar referred to the Lord who had spoken to her as the God who sees me. For she said, "I have seen the one who sees me." Later, that well was named Beer-Ihorah, and it can be found between Kadesh and Bered. So Hagar gave Abram a son, and Abram named him Ishmael. Abram was 86 years old at that time. And we exactly hit 10 minutes. So I'm going to end there today. Thank you so much for listening. I will see you tomorrow, where I will start chapter 17 of Genesis. Thank you and have a blessed day.